Yo, what's up guys? My name's Haylight Hunter, and today we're going to be talking about Call of Duty Gunfight. I never really played a lot of Call of Duty in the past, but Gunfight really has me hooked. There's something about how personal each round feels, and you all have the exact same guns, so there's no way that you can complain if you're winning or losing a round. It's purely skill-based, which I love. So today I'm going to be talking about how you can be a better gunfight player and win more games. I currently sit at a win-loss ratio of 1.52, and like I said, I never really played Call of Duty in the past, so that should prove to you that these 5 things can really improve your gameplay and make you a competitive gunfight player. So in my experience with other games in the past, the most important thing that you could do was always to communicate with your teammates, and that rings so true in Call of Duty Gunfight. My first competitive game that I really played was Overwatch, and if anyone remembers Stylosa, he was always telling you, communicate with your teammates. If you don't have a mic, get a mic. And it's so vital in 2v2s that you're communicating with your partner consistently. If you're not doing this currently, it's probably the reason why you're losing a lot of your games if you are losing games. If you don't have insane aim, a nice call out from your teammate can help you get ready and prepared for someone to push you whenever you're not expecting it. So being able to communicate with a partner, have a headset on, and let them know what they need to be doing, and they'll give you calls back, is so vital to getting more kills and putting yourself in an advantageous position to win more gunfights. The second most important thing about this game mode is easily repositioning. Just like in any other first-person shooter, repositioning is vital in Call of Duty Gunfight. If your opponents are doing a good job of communicating and you peek and take a shot, they're going to know exactly where you are if you re-peek the exact same position. So we're going to take a look at a clip where I go down 2-1 in this gunfight, and I have to do everything that I can to stay alive and wind up winning the fight. So we're going to start off this round by getting a couple clean shots off on my opponent, but then you can see here that my teammate goes down, leaving me in a 2v1 situation. Also, being unpredictable just makes you a better Call of Duty player in general. Taking yourself out of... Then I quickly jump back on the inside and engage my original opponent and secure the victory. So that fight happened really quickly, but I was able to use repositioning and quick movement to take away the 2v1 advantage and ultimately win the fight. This brings us to tip number 3, pre-firing. If you don't know what pre-firing is whenever you start shooting before your opponent actually shows up because you believe that they're going to peek. So I know your first question is probably going to be, well, how do I know if they're going to peek? And the honest answer is this is definitely going to come with a lot of playing the game. The more and more you play Gunfight, the more that you realize that there are certain lanes that most players use. So most of the time you'll either go left, right, or mid, and within these lanes there's a lot of different cover that you can use. So a lot of the time, especially early on in a gunfight match, players will run up to these covers and mount their weapons and see who has the better aim. So knowing that, you can kind of predict what these players are going to do, and that's where pre-firing comes in. If you know that they're going to take an early 1v1 against you, why not jump and then start shooting before you even mount your weapon, so you have maybe a few shots that hit the opponent before you even start aiming. In these clips that you're watching now, I definitely am pre-firing almost every corner that I turn around, because it's better to safely assume that they're going to be there and maybe miss a few shots than be surprised whenever they're there and now you're losing the fight. This brings us to tip number 4, be unpredictable. This is something I struggle with a ton whenever I'm playing Gunfight. I feel like whenever I get into a groove, I just want to keep doing the same things, and then smart opposing players punish me for it. So I kind of made up this rule in my head that I encourage you to use as well. I never go to the same peak 3 times in a row. Honestly, you'd be surprised how often you can catch someone with their guard down re-peeking the exact same position as you did last round. For me, it feels like it's always the 3rd time that I take the same peek that the opposing player is knowing and ready for it and just punishes me. So I like to go to the same peak twice. Either I win or I lose. If I split 1 and 1, it's fine. I still go to a different peak. Don't let the opposing players get used to your playstyle. Always do something different. If you're in a rut and the opposing team is just demolishing you and you feel like you can't really get your bearings, go and do something crazy. Do something that you've literally never done in a gunfight match before, and you'll be surprised that you can just steal around from them And I can't tell you the number of times I've been down 5-0, gotten one round, and been able to steamroll my opponents for the next 5 rounds in a row and win 6-5. That also happens to me, which is kind of infuriating, but hey, we're making these tips to help you, right? Also, being unpredictable just makes you a better Call of Duty player in general. Taking yourself out of your comfort zone and doing something that you're not used to doing will make you a better player, increase your aim, and hopefully help your game sense, which is so vital to Call of Duty. I think game sense is a very underrated skill that a lot of players don't really develop. If you don't know what game sense is your ability to understand what's going on in the game and the decisions that you should make. And that brings us to tip number 5, relax. I cannot tell you the number of times that I've outplayed way better players than me just because my ability to remain calm whenever it's a 1v1 situation and health is even, the ability to just take a step back from the game, understand the situation, and capitalize on positioning and other intangible Call of Duty features other than aiming that you might not think about is absolutely vital to winning more games. So you might be thinking, Hunter, what are those things that I need to be thinking about during the late game? Well, the first thing you should be looking at is your health. Do you have more health than the opposing player? If the answer is yes, you need to sit back, relax, hold a peek where only you can see them and they can see you, and there's no other angle that they could shoot you with, and listen for footsteps. Don't be too aggressive, don't give yourself away. If you're in an advantageous position, if you have more health, there's no reason to risk losing the round to try to be a hero. Just take a second and let the game come to you. Now, if you don't have more health, the first thing that you should try to do is get as close to the point as you possibly can. The closer you are to the point, the easier you can capture it, and the point moves at a ridiculously fast pace. If you can sit on the point while your opponent is very far away from it, you almost always win the round. But let's say you're sitting on the point and your opponent is aggressive and has to come and try to stop you. You now know that he's going to be running towards you and you're going to be sitting on the point, and that's a much easier shot to hit than a running full speed, probably jumping shot that your opponent will have to hit. So now you might be thinking, Hunter, I hate people that camp on the point. Well, let's think about why we all hate people that camp on the point so much. It's because most of the time, if someone captures the point, you had more health than them, you had the advantage, and somehow they came up and stole the round from you by taking the point. The point is probably the most underrated way to win rounds in Gunfight, and I think that moving forward, whenever Gunfight becomes more competitive, most games will be decided by the last second point capture. Okay everybody, so that was 5 things that you can start changing in your Gunfight gameplay right now to help you win more games. This was a very high level video, so we didn't cover a lot of in-depth material. So if you guys enjoyed this, please leave a like and comment which one of the 5 tips you would like to see a more in-depth video on, and I'll be sure to get that out to you as quickly as possible. So let's quickly go back over the 5 tips that you guys can start implementing into your Gunfight gameplay right now that will help you win more Gunfight games. Number 1 is communication. Communicating with your teammate is one of the best things that you can do whenever you're playing really difficult opponents. If they have fantastic aim, you and your teammate calling out to one another and giving you a little bit of extra time to make a play on the opposing team will be vital in helping you win more matches. Tip number 2 is repositioning. Repositioning is the direct counter to communication. If your opponents are communicating where you're at and you reposition, then you can take them by surprise and get an easy kill. Tip number 3 was pre-fire. Whenever you're turning corners, start firing your weapon before you know if the opponent is there so you can get easy damage and not be surprised. Tip number 4, be unpredictable. Being unpredictable is one of the easiest ways to steal rounds from your opponent. I don't care how good the player is, if you catch them off guard, 9 times out of 10, you're going to win the round. And finally, tip number 5, relax. Relaxing is one of the most important parts of game sense in this game. If you can relax and maintain a level head during the most important times of a gunfight match, you're going to be on your way to winning a lot more rounds. With that being said guys, I genuinely hope that this video is helpful and can help you win more games. If you like this content, please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment and let me know how I did. Feel free to let me know how I can improve in the next one and provide better content to you guys so you can win more matches of Gunfight. If you want to come ask me questions in real time, I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time until 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I would love to see you guys in the stream and would be happy to answer any questions that you all have. Take care.